Hello. So I just wanted to do a little teaching on this mantra, har 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 Gobinday, har 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 Mukunde, har 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 Udare, Apare, Hariung Kariung, Nirname, Akame. When you're doing this mantra, when you're doing any mantra, and you're practicing it over a period of time and you have trouble with one word or another, it's like looking in the mirror and seeing which aspect of yourself you're having difficulty embracing. So this mantra lists 8 attributes of God or the divine, and you're invoking them as you're saying har 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 har. And as the as that vibrates against your soft palate, it's actually vibrating your pineal gland. And as I was taking a walk, I was doing the motions that I've invented for this mantra, like dances of universal peace, as a tool to more deeply embody and to remember the words. As I was doing it, I just was kind of like elucidating the various names and what they mean. And it really is about taking it into yourself and owning those characteristics yourself, but also being in relationship to the divine, because it's always both. There are times when we really need to support and rely on the divine as our protector, our sustainer, our helper. And there are times when we really need to embody that as the divine. So, without further ado, let me just start talking about them. So, I'm going to lead you all in the motions. I'm not going to burden you with singing it, but I'm going to do the motions and invite you to join me with those motions to begin the embodiment practice that this is. So, the first word is Gobinday. So just go like this. Gobinday. It is the sustainer of all. Mukunde, the liberator. Udare, enlightener. Messenger, the one who lightens the burden. There's a lot of love and support in that one, so give yourself a hug. Udare. Apare is the infinite. Think of the sky. Apare. 4 more. Hariyung, cutting. This is a cutting motion because Hariyung is the divine destroyer. Hariyung, Kariyung, sorry. So it's the same word but starting with K. So Hariyung, Kariyung, that which gives birth, the creative aspect. Continue lifting them up for Nirname. This is a tricky one for us to embody because Nirname is the nameless one. So this is like you're letting go of ego and an idea of self. And God doesn't need a name. The Tao, that which is the eternal Tao, is nameless. Nirname. And then Akame. Really been working with this one. Akame is the desireless. God the desireless, the divine principle, that which stands alone, that which is not dependent on anything else, that which doesn't need or desire. There is desireless desire, but that leaning toward that feeling of, oh, I want that person's attention because I need that. I'm not complete without it. That divine principle of desirelessness. I don't need anything or anyone to be complete. Okay, so, oh, getting hot all of a sudden. So I want to just give a little teaching on each one now. So Gobinday. Gobinday, that which supports, that which sustains, the quantum field, that which keeps everything in a state of balance, harmony, equilibrium, the sustainer, the upholder, Gobinday. Holding everything together. And I even think of a mother in the center of a large family, perhaps living on a farm, that she's the supporter, she keeps it going. Let's get the kids to all the appointments. Let's make sure the house is ready for this meeting for this member of the family. Let's feed the tribe. Let's, the that is the Gobinday, the we are the sustainer of our own lives. Excuse me. But it's easier to think of this in terms of God, the sustainer of our experience, the sustainer of our own being, the one that keeps it going. The sun keeps rising, the water keeps flowing, and we exist inside this. Hello, Liara. Sunday, thank you. Oh, yes, for the sneeze. And bless you too. Okay, so then the liberator. That which liberates. So we've got Gobinde, the sustainer, Mukunde, the liberator, that which liberates from bondage. Bondage can be that you are oppressed by another, that which is oppressed, imprisoned, withheld from another. We also do this to ourselves with addiction to a relationship, to other people's thinking, to substances, to distraction, whatever keeps us from just being free and unbounded, and we're really afraid of that. So there's a lot of makunde needed to break us free of the illusion that we need something that we actually don't. Mukunde, the liberator, and that lives within each one of us. So I'm going to keep repeating as we go. So Gobinde, the sustainer, Mukunde, the liberator, Udare. This has become my favorite because Udare is and I was looking at my hawk feather as I was driving. I have it in my car. The messenger, that which brings the message and the truth. I identify with this on the earth. I embody this divine principle better than a lot of the others because it's the enlightener, the one that enlightens. And so often the message that enlightens lifts the burden. There's an energy of holding, comforting, uplifting, lifting the burden, making things easier. Let me take that burden away from you. So the divine principle that uplifts and enlightens. Okay, so Gobinde, Mukunde, Udare, Apare. Apare is that which is infinite, unbounded, constant like a stream, endless in supply, infinite in possibility, unbounded, free, limitless, immeasurable. Doesn't that feel good? Just to say those, to think those? Okay, so then the next four. Hariyong Kariyong Nirname Akame. So these I think of kind of as the outer planets, like in astrology. These are less personal and more like expansive out there. That which destroys, Hariyong. End, death, dissolution, completion. Ending. Death, decay. It goes away. It's done. We're done. Doesn't that feel good too? Hariyong. And that's our ability to say too, this is over. This is this cutting motion because it's like, it's over, it's done. It's like harvest. We harvest the grain, the wheat, the fruit. Its cycle has come to completion. And now we enjoy the riches and the bounty that came from whatever that was, even if it was adversity, restriction, um, whatever it was, a journey, something wonderful, something difficult. There's always a harvest. Hariyung, the completion. Kariyung, creation, that which begins, conceives, gives life to, birth, the new, comes out of nowhere, beginning, creation, conception, give life to, the beginner. So Hariyung, Kariyung. Yep, this one's the most tricky because it's about dropping the concept of self. Nirname. Nirname. So it's like you're canceling out yourself and your identity with this motion. Nirname. It's so good to work with, the nameless. And I have been struggling with this one in particular, and maybe it's because I'm not really supposed to embody this one right now, and that's okay with me. You don't have to get everything because it's not all meant for you right now, but this principle, the Nirname, like I'm reading Byron Katie, and she's like, I had this awareness that there was no one there. Eckhart Tolle, you get to the end of the journey, and who is perceiving? Who is the consciousness behind the witnessing of our experience? There's nobody there. I struggle with that because I feel like I'm here. Nonetheless, there's no ego in the divine oneness that says, I need you to recognize me. How long have you been accompanied by a particular angel or guide or aspect that didn't need to blow its trumpet and announce itself and take credit for something? Yeah, this is a very important concept to just consider. And if you can even just attribute that egolessness, that tireless, infinite, sustaining, constant, nourishing, and egoless, the humble, the pure love that's always flowing towards you and doesn't need credit or accolades for this act. Can we take on a little bit of that nirname, maybe quiet the ego, make it a little less, and just say, well, what is the most important thing to my heart is that everyone is happy. And then just step back. The work of dropping ego is such a friggin' relief. There was a moment when I was in high school and I was looking over this. We lived in a place that had this incredible view down to the south. You could see Pikes Peak from the South Denver place where we were. It's a city, mountains that are like, 70 miles away. Could see the whole Front Range and everything. And I just remember standing there and having the understanding that I was nothing. I can't get there right now, but I remember being in that sacred space. I am nothing. Really is actually a huge relief. And in Buddhism, they say you tend to prefer occurrence or non-occurrence. Isn't that just the yin and the yang? In and out of existence, the gigantic cycles of being and non-being. Nirname. And the last one is akame. 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 What do you hear? What do you feel? Akame. I hear the word accommodation. I have come to some accommodation with life as it is. It can also be, it comes to me so I can relax. Akame. It actually means desireless. I mentioned this a little bit before, but the concept of not needing, not grasping, not trying to control, no aggression. Akame. I'm okay. Hi, Chris. Oh. So I never know why we're gathering. I just know that it's time to gather. Don't you just love that? So I'm good. This is the last attribute now. of, I don't even know the name of this mantra, but I'm continuing to work with it, and it's just been so helpful. So if you want to join me in the whole thing, I've invented motions to it to just help us embody. So if somebody found this video just because they typed in those words because they're working with that mantra, that's what this whole first 15 minutes is dedicated to. And then I'm going to start drawing cards and talking, and we'll just see where it goes. So here's the mantra: Gobinday, sustainer; Mukunde, liberator; Udare, uplifter; Akame, no, Apare, the infinite; Hariyum, the destroyer; Kariyum, the creator; Nirname, the nameless; Akame, desireless and all by itself; Independent, which is a card that I drew this morning. Independence. I'm independent. Who knows where that's from? It's a Christmas cartoon. I'm independent. Okay, I'm going to draw a few self-care cards. Kind of feel like I just want to catch everybody up on my personal life, and yet on the other hand, I don't want to really put that out on YouTube. But I will say in general terms that the second eclipse felt like a breakthrough and an ending. It felt like now we can move into this new timeline. It feels like very slow forward movement now. This morning I went out to the east. The wind was blowing mightily to the east. All the tumbleweeds were blowing to the east. And the spirit said for the second day in a row, just take a drive out east. And so I did. And the wind is just so powerful. And I'm like, well, it's like it's blowing something new in. And there's a sense of movement. And going toward the east is going toward a new beginning. And when we're transitioning, hi, Gypsy, Merry Christmas. When we're transitioning from the old to the new, there's a moment when we shift from focusing on what we're leaving and that process to focusing on where we're going and what we're creating, what we're creating. And I feel like that happened with the eclipse. Also very tired. Yeah, I had a really interesting experience with that. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the quantum field. I'm going to draw these 3 self-care cards and then talk about the quantum field because I think this might be where I'm going. And if you have another piece of equipment that you can look something up, I would say go to medbed.com. That's what I've been doing lately. I'm waiting for a response for round 2. But it's really cool. Okay, so look that up and then I'll talk about it. Okay, nature. Take a walk. Let the beauty of nature feed your soul. So just a reminder that as these old systems are coming down, oh, and I feel like I want to cry with that because we're just, it's getting to a point where it's like, oh my God, we see more and more and more how anti-life. I mean, even the concept of paying rent. Leaving is a buzzword for you. You're leaving something. Like leaves. The reminder that going out into nature is to leaving something behind. Yeah. That is, okay, something else extremely helpful that I found is Molly McCord. She has a YouTube channel, and about 10 days ago, now 12 days ago, she did a video on I think it was the second eclipse, the one that happened yesterday in the wee hours of the morning out here in the West. And it's like she reached into my life and said, here's what you're experiencing. And there's this the Mercury, the moon, and the sun in, I think, Scorpio South Node There's a huge focus on, I am so done with that. This has to come to an end. This is over now. And it takes a while to reckon with that process. I'm leaving behind a way of being in the world, which includes how I behave in a relationship, how I behave in my career. There are these two big things that are shifting, and there are way more unknowns than knowns about what's up ahead. But it's like just track where you are and try to stay out of fear. And going into the unknown, a lot of my videos have been about that. But the thing about nature is that it's always vibrating to the truth. It's always vibrating to true nature, to what is natural, what is native, what is inborn, what is inherent, the original blueprint of living on the earth. Yeah, Gypsy, if you're really resonating with leaving behind, look up that Molly McCord video. It will blow your mind. Well, how do I know? But it blew my mind. So, yes, always return to nature when you're getting kind of frazzled by the fear, you know? And they're turning up the fear as much as they can because it's their only weapon, and it's, nothing can stop this ending and beginning. And I really feel like, a lot of us are feeling it in our personal lives. Certain things have to go. They don't belong. They can't stay. What does that sound like? They can't stay where we're going. Sounds like ascension to me. That's what I'm living. That's what the astrology says. And I think that we are right on the cusp of a massive breakthrough. Okay, clearing. Isn't this beautiful? Clearing the clutter and the stuff that is not needed. Clear the clutter. When in doubt, throw it out. So this is, includes many, many layers. And rest. Rest and relax. Release guilt and make your needs a top priority. We have to allow for the fact that this is a very, very energetically demanding experience. So rest when it's time to rest. Okay, now I want to talk about the medbed and the quantum field. So what I've been discovering, because I went to medbed.com, it just kind of crossed my path through one of these messenger threads I'm on with a bunch of people in North Carolina. Hi, Tammy. And she's like, what do you think of this? And I wanted to just poo-poo it, but it was that feeling of like, oh, nothing can be that good. That's too good to be true. Oh, that's all. What are they selling? The jaded, the skeptic. And I was like, no, I'm trying to open myself up to possibilities here. So I'm not going to rush to judgment. So I began looking into it, and and they've done research that has been published in some journal. I can't name it for you now, but the experiment is that they had this quantum cube. I don't understand the technology aspect of it, but they had something, they call it like a quantum operating system. And it was in Braunschweiger, Germany. We used to eat Braunschweiger on road trips. And then they had a culture of tissues in a petri dish in Akumal, Mexico, which we were seriously planning on going there last year just for a break. And then we realized that Stuart didn't have his passport wasn't up to date, but it's a snorkeling capital of the world. Anyway, it's in Mexico. So it's 5,000 miles apart. And in this culture, this petri dish, they put a slice in the tissue, and then they activated this quantum healing thing, quantum entanglement, and they experimented with various frequencies. And when they got to, okay, and I don't know what this means, but 90-10, this suture healed up really fast. So they've discovered this frequency. So when, like, they will give you 8 hours free to experiment with this, and all you have to do is take a picture of your mattress, your bed, with everything taken off. You can leave the sheet on, the bottom sheet, but you just follow the instructions. I read tons of the most frequently asked questions because I really wanted to get a feel for this. And then it's like, well, if it's free and this is free and this is all you have to do, okay, I'm going to try it. So I did, and then you send that picture, they upload it, and then they send you another email and they're like, "Okay, you're good to go." And they give you a lot of demonstration, videos. I listen to a lot of videos of people who have experimented with this and what they've experienced. And then you just lay down on your own bed and you say, I think 90-10 med bed activate. And then you feel it, you experience it, and then you say, "Scan me." Then you feel what that scan is like. And then you can, like, I made a practice of writing down everything I wanted to address while I was in this med bed for 8 hours. And I did it in the middle of the day. Like, I started at 12:30, I did 3 hours, went away, did this, that, even did a steam bath. And then that was the night of the eclipse. And then I came back and did another half hour. Some people just sleep through it. It's a lot. It is so much energy that I say, I say get the full benefit by sleeping in it. Start at a time of day that you can have a conscious experience of it. But anyway, so that's what I did. And I just so my experience, and I will make a video and upload it to YouTube. Um, Probably. I mean, if they get back to me and they're like, "Yeah, we want you to go ahead with this ongoing experiment with your own life." But my experience is going to be more in the realm of consciousness. Like, I want to delete these old programs. I want this, 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 and this. Now I'm just kind of watching it unfold. But I was like, as an evidence that this works, I'm going to ask to have this scar tissue and this chicken neck thing I've got removed. I had a little fat pocket years ago, like 50, 20, 25 years ago. And I went to the doctor, and he just, he deadened it and then literally cut it out. And it was a lot bigger than he thought it was going to be. It's so gross to listen to the cutting, and then bandaged it up. And I've had a little scar there ever since. And as I'm getting older, it's turning into this set of wrinkles. Well, it's healed. It used to be like, really wrinkled and chicken neck. And I was like, heal this so that every time I look in the mirror, I know that this actually works. And that so you can kind of barely see the lines, but let me tell you, it was 10 times, 100 times worse than it is now. So that was my evidence. I also had a really weird experience that afternoon. So I sat there for a couple of hours, had my experience, and then let's see what else they wanted me to share. Oh, it went to my head. I could just feel the quantum field going to my head. And now what I'm hearing is I need to say this. I hope that you're thinking this anyway. I just felt this energy working with my head, and then 3 hours later, when I just was like my brain turned to cheese and I couldn't process anything, and I just went and got a latte and drove to this lake, and I was hanging out with my dog, and I was looking at the rocks, and it was like my head had shifted, like craniosacral, because my eyes were somehow they had changed, and they had to relearn how to focus. And I was like, they were doing craniosacral. And the thought came to me, and I was saying this to my friend in the parking lot after we went to the steam bath and sweat for about an hour. I was talking to her and I said, just think about as a child how your brain is. And then think about how it changes over time because of all the conditioning, and how there's a physiological, there's a chemical, there's a physical, energetic, there's this change because you're adapting to the world. And what if you said to the quantum field, get me back to my original healthy brain? And right when I was saying that, there was this chain of lights right above her head. They looked like stars, but they were all in a perfect line. And I went, okay, that's in the sky, that's moving. I was like, Jess, what in the heck is that? And she's got the eternal child archetype like me, and we were looking at it and watching it move and move, and we're like, okay, maybe it's Starlink. And then we noticed that it began to disappear. It just faded out, kind of like from one side to the other, sort of blinked in and out, and then it was just gone. And then we noticed that we could see other stars, so there wasn't cloud cover. And she turned and she said to me, Santa! I don't know what it was, but Jess is the person that I was with. Oh, thank you, Gypsy. I appreciate that so much. And you're so welcome. I have to say that okay, so Liara, if you're still here, this involves you. So I told Liara I'm going on a CE5, and with these people in Denver, they have this group where that's, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and Stephen Greer founded this whole methodology, and it's the CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind is human initiated. And I actually did one of these with Emery Smith too, and Jess was also at that one. Because it takes the childlike imagination of the eternal child to enter the kingdom of heaven and to be able to see with the eyes of a child. So I told Liara, we're going to go do this CE5. And she goes, oh, what time and where are you? Because I'll tell my team upstairs to do a flyby. So Jess and I are laying out in the weeds at like 10 o'clock at night down in Denver somewhere. And this guy, bless his heart, he was like an annoying youth pastor, and he talked and talked and talked. And I whispered to Jess, hey, how about if I open up a can and shut the hell up? And we started to laugh so hard that we almost peed our pants. And we're laughing and laughing. There's like 20 people around us all seriously watching the stars, and we're dying laughing. And right at that moment, I look up, and there's this blue-green ship that flew by slowly under a cloud, in front of the cloud, and I knew it was Liara. I knew it was my own team. I knew it was me up there on the ship, and Jess and I are like, "Oh my god, did you just see that?" Now this is a CE6 because not only is it human originated, but it's coordinated with someone on the other side of the planet who's also on your team upstairs, and the higher aspect of you agrees to. I mean, it was just like, oh my god. So Jess is the one that I saw Santa Claus with, or the mothership, or whatever this was. I don't think it was Starlink because it disappeared and there were no clouds. Isn't that so cool? And then I went home and I did a little bit more of the 90-10 med bed. Okay, and I'm continuing to keep track. So all the time that I'm doing this, I've decided, well, I'm just going to make my own. I'm going to make my own. I have access to the quantum field, and this whole 90-10 med bed thing is for the whole planet who has been imprisoned in 3D consciousness, and our brains have been warped to be super skeptical of anything that isn't really dense. I took this into my session, and I had it on my knee where I'm missing a ligament, and the next day it hurt so bad, and I was like, I think that's a good sign. I think that ligament might be coming back. But anyway, the truth is we have access to the quantum field, and this whole medbed thing is just something. It's just a letter from 5D reaching into 3D and saying, come, come, come on this little path, try this. And then you watch the videos of these people, you subscribe to the channel, and then people are just like, person after person after person is telling their 3-minute, 7-minute experience from all over the world. And Jesus said, go in peace, your faith has made you well. So who knows? I think this technology is a real thing because I can feel the difference. But anyway, like because I could tell, I tried it this morning and I was like, either they activated it overnight because I responded to their email after my experience, and I was like, I want to do research, and here's the proof that I have a condition. And I'm waiting for them to get back to me and say, okay, we believe you have a condition and we want you to participate in research for free. This is the largest quantum entanglement global research in history. So I'm waiting for them to get back to me. And I was like, okay, 90-10 medbed, activate. And nothing happened. I could feel it didn't happen. So I was like, okay. And sure enough, I hadn't gotten an email. It's a permission slip. Thank you. Exactly. Exactly. Which is just like a yoga class. Our inner child just needs permission from an authority figure called the yoga teacher. And we're like, she's going to help me create this, or he's going to help me create this space where I give myself permission to just be here for an hour, a whole hour, where I don't have to think about, and of course you could do that for yourself, but isn't it helpful? It's like God is that loving and kind and gentle to be like, I know you need a permission slip. So here it is. So I went into the quantum field. I went kind of out there and I said, Paula is going to create her own customized med bed. And I was like, the Arcturians are really good at that. And so I lined it up and I was like, Arcturian Paula quantum med bed. It didn't quite resonate. And then I said, Pleiadian Paula quantum healing med bed. And I felt that and it was right on. It was the right color. Okay, so this is Liara did this. She created this artwork of this came from an actual photograph of me standing under this tree that I'm looking at outside where I have all these little Christmas lights. And I was standing under it, took a picture, sent it to her. And when she went into what I look like on the ships, she kept trying to do blue and it kept coming through purple, which is always been my most favorite color. And so that's me. So that part of me, I think, might be Pleiadian. I don't know. I've never really identified as a Pleiadian because I can feel my history going to Sirius and Lyra and the Patel. But that's just because I have access to those memories. But I do think I probably spent a lot of time in the Pleiades. As I always say, a lot of my best friends are Pleiadian. So anyway, the Pleiadian medbed aligned with me because it had the right colors, the right frequency, it was the right energy to interface with my 3D experience on Earth and where I want to go. Yeah, purple is my frequency, totally. That's why I have a purple sweater. I'm almost always wearing something purple. So then I activated that. Okay, I tried that particular Paula customized medbed, so I call it in. Like if you've ever heard of this system called, oh, it came out years ago. It's this dark blue book with silver writing on the front, and it's called Medical Assistance Program. That's it, MAP, Medical Assistance Program. And you literally reach into the quantum. It gives you instructions to create your own customized medical assistance team. And you give it your name, your frequency, and then you call it in. Mine is called Map for Paula. And then that gives you instructions on how to sit in there and like experience all this healing and stuff. Well, this is basically the same thing. So I've been reaching into the quantum realm and I've been like learning so much about the quantum realm. And I've got friends that work in the quantum realm and they do healing in the quantum realm and they access it consciously. I think we're always accessing it, but I'm like, oh, I'm starting to get what that feels like. So this morning I just laid in bed and I accessed the quantum realm and I went into my shoulders and I went along the muscles and I gave them the message, you can relax, you can let go. And I tuned into the frequency they were holding of fear and excessive responsibility and protection. And I was like, you can just let that go. And I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And I didn't have any shoulder pain when I woke up. And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to do my foot and now I'm going to do my calves. And then I got up at dawn and I was like, oh my God, I want to go watch the sunrise. And I'm like, no, no, no. This is really valuable. Being half in and out of the wakeful state. I'm in this hypnagogic state, consciously working with the quantum. I'm going to go back in and deal with this. Oh my God, that is so sweet. Oh my God, that is so your own med team. I know you mean med team. Isn't this fun? Right? Well, yeah, you can have a deck of your own. Liara can tell you all about where she ordered it from. These are just ordinary playing cards that, ooh, I should use them. Anyway, so what was I saying? What else happened? Oh, the first time I did it it was before I got the 8 hours free from MedBed 9010, medbed.com. I was like, I can do this myself. And I was looking at my foot pain. I have Saturn, Pisces in Saturn. So my feet are like my problem area. And my mom had like this hammer toe, like here's a normal person's foot, and her big toe came across her rest of her toes like at this angle. It was like so sad. It was the worst, it's the worst bunion crippling I've ever seen in my life. And she lived it like 84 and like managed just fine. But anyway, so I went into just let my mind wander, and it took me back and back, and I went to China, and then I went to this movie that I saw. Oh my God, this is the one of the best series I ever saw, Marco Polo on Netflix. Okay, and 5 decks, no more being made. Okay, so shield yourself from this little traumatic thing that I'm going to tell you about. Oh, I'm glad your team is fixing you up. Yeah. You can also go into the quantum realm and help other people, but I haven't really broached that yet. Because you need permissions and stuff like that. But the quantum field really is like this interface between the spiritual realm that I deal with all the time as an intuitive and the physical realm. It's like prana, chi, kind of, it's like the prayers of the people are carried on smoke because it's evanescent. Isn't that a great word? Evanescent means tending towards vapor. So it's like something that kind of disappears into nothing, just like that series of lights in the sky. Um, Anyway, so okay, the little minor traumatic things. Surround yourself. Okay, but the foot binding that they used to do in China, there's a part in the movie where that happens, and um, it gets later corrected and fixed and everything. But they would bind the feet of Chinese little girls to have smaller feet because that was more attractive. Ugh. So they hobbled them. Isn't that awful? Anyway, they were showing me that this is how far back into the lineage my foot healing was going. Is that I inherited foot problems from my mom, who was probably had a past life in China where she was hobbled. Her feet were bound. And people used to call all of us Asian, my mom, myself, my son, because we carry this energy of looking just a little Asian. Anyway, so that's possible in the quantum field too, so I guess that's all I want to say at the moment, because this is such a fun and exciting process accessing the quantum field, and this medbed.com is such a cool way to go in and begin accessing that. And what's really cool about it is that it's not like someone's offering you a physical medbed. Oh, it's going to fix all my problems, which they probably will do. I firmly believe that that's going to happen. This whole technology, which is in Switzerland or Germany somewhere, it lifts your vibration and your consciousness. It's a constant little, it's just an offering. Here, step up into this place of faith and trust and quantum, so, and because I've done that, with that childlike. Okay, so there are two other things I want to say. What's in the field right now? I'll read your comment in just a second, but I don't want to lose this. How much literally is what the word quantus means. Quanto questo means how much does that cost? Quantus is the Latin equivalent for the question, how much? So quantum, like it means amount, but the question, how much, isn't that just what it means? How much? How much do you want? How much can I have? How much do you want? How much can I have? How much do you want? How much? Because it's infinite. Appare. It's all available to you. So that energy is in the field. So Simon Park's last video, whatever he said that's stirring the boat, rocking the boat, whatever, but his last video, what at the very beginning of his video, he was talking about people's capacity to receive quantum financial abundance. And he went on and on and on about it, because we're so like we're in this prison, but there's no door anymore, you know? So stepping into that new field of infinite possibility. And my sister-in-law is reading a book called The Big Leap, which is all about the false ceilings we put on our own happiness, and how when we break through and begin having an experience of happiness, we sabotage it because it's just a little scary. It's unfamiliar. It's like, oh, am I going to be punished? Is this safe? It's just unfamiliar. And when I was tuning into my inner child at the beginning of this whole, process I'm going through of separation, um, I was like, "Okay, what are you feeling? What's going on?" And she gave me a picture of London, late 1800s, where they had those, ceilings made out of glass that were all peaked. You know what I'm talking about. And it must have been a past life where it was like, "Oh, I can't get above that." I was like, "You're talking about glass ceilings, aren't you? You feel like there's been a lid on your happiness and your potential and your freedom. You've been capped." So this book, The Big Leap, is all about opening the window, taking off the ceiling, expanding into the unbounded. Really, because anything is possible. It's just how much will we allow? So God knows that this is scary, and God brings compassion to that. There isn't pressure all of a sudden for you to walk on water. You know you could, conceivably, theoretically. But it's about cracking open that window, letting the air come in, getting familiar with the smell of that fresh air. Oh, that's so cool. So Gypsy, I'm guessing you know Liara. Oh, that's so cool. So it is Team Light here. Um, yeah, what there was something else I was gonna say. Oh, and I think this is appetite. Isn't that a good word? Appetite? How much do you want? Yeah, it's wide open for us to go through at any time. So I think that's why the wind was blowing to the east. Now it's almost perfectly calm, but the spirit telling me go east. So the last place I ended up, so you drive east from Fort Collins, and it's just like literally the dirt was blowing so hard on the dirt roads that I couldn't see the road at times. It's just like flat nothingness. I mean, this is a few hills and gullies and, but the last thing I came upon on my way back was this enormous lake. Well, enormous pond, an average sized lake. And it was this color. No joking. It was this color. It was this aqua green with these houses dotted around it. And then I took this one road. What was it? I'll think of it like Lakeside, something Cobb Lake Road. And I just turned on it. It was a dead end, of course. And there were probably like 7 houses total, mansions on the eastern edge of this lake. And this morning, I am not kidding. Don't you love it when I say that? I'm not kidding you, because like I would come on here and kid you and be like, oh, I made that all up. No, but what happened is I have 2 Facebook pages. The Messenger one that I use is from my old page, and the Facebook that I use is the new page. So the old Messenger I have on my phone, but I have the capacity to go to the other Messenger, which I did because I saw a potential camper that I could buy and move into temporarily, and I was like, "Oh my god, that would be perfect. What if I parked it on a lake?" Oh, anyway, and then I was just free to like go anywhere indefinitely, just live anywhere. So yeah, I was waiting for him to respond to me, and I was like, "Oh, I bet he'll message me back on this new page." So I went in there, and there was one message from the woman that led the sweat lodge that I participated in last week, formerly married to a Native American who I sat next to, this Lakota, mostly mostly just naked skin Lakota. I was touching the Lakota nation. It was so amazing. It was really incredible because I've been thinking a lot about the harmony. If you've seen Dances with Wolves, and he says there's one word for this group of people, and it's harmony. The original blueprint of people on the earth, and that's another phrase that I use. People on the earth, that primal, that simple. and the Lakota embodied that, and I was getting the DNA of it. It was so cool. Anyway, her name is Lily, and she had a message for me, and it was a simple picture, a Maxfield Parish. This is a Maxfield Parish. Look at, I love Maxfield Parish. Isn't that amazing? This little imp is 12 years old and she has pointed ears. I am still decoding what that painting is for me and why I have it. But anyway, it was a Maxfield Parrish painting of a house with a lake behind it and mountains beyond. And then when I was coming back, aqua is the heart color in the fifth dimension. Oh, and I have something else to say about the heart, this other massive teaching I got yesterday and how it's connected to the third chakra. Yeah, I thought it was a misprint, but I learned something about power and love. So anyway, when I was on this street, I was looking at these houses on a lake with the mountains behind, and it was the exact picture. And my guides were like, we wanted to throw open the doors of possibility in your mind so that you can know that this is possible, because anything is possible. Anything. It doesn't matter that it costs a couple $1,000,000 to live where those people live. God's like, you think money's a problem for me? So, because of the power of the third chakra and the love potential, when the third chakra is healed and whole, I was able to stay in my center and say, I want God's version of infinite blessing in my life, not someone doing me a favor, not knocking on that person's door and being like, oh, could I park my RV in your yard, please? They're not the source of my abundance. It's not about contacting a celebrity. And I mean, I think that might happen to me someday, that somebody who has a gigantic viewership contacts me and wants to interview me on their show with the card system. I mean, I want to pair up with Janine. She needs to know. Look at this, pairing up. She needs to know what the five of spades, like the five of hearts. She needs to know what her card means. She needs to know about this, the original tarot. I'm dying to tell her. But that is all divinely orchestrated or not. I don't want it if it's not divinely orchestrated. And that's what I came to today. I don't want anything but divine will. Ich, I don't want it. I want divine will. And that is third chakra power. So there's this card in the Osho Zen, and I'm going to read it to you. And it is the Queen of Fire. Okay, and I did this card spread, and the Queen of Fire was next to the Child of Fire. The name of this card is Sharing, and this is playfulness. Max actually drew this card one day, my dog. So let me read to you the Queen of Fire. It's about sufficiency. Okay, so what gives her the capacity to do this kind of abundance sharing? She's like, here, I have some pomegranate, and I have some grapes, and I have lots of sunflowers, and I have light. She's showing up being like, I've got all this stuff I want to share with you. The Queen of Fire is so rich, so much a queen, that she can afford to give. It doesn't even occur to her to take inventories or to put something aside for later. She dispenses her treasures without limits, welcoming all and sundry to partake of the abundance, fertility, and light that surrounds her. When you draw this card, it suggests that you two are in a situation where you have an opportunity to share your love, your joy, and your laughter. And in sharing, you find that you feel even more full. There is no need to go anywhere or to make any special effort. And that's the thing, too, is that love and stuff comes to you. You attract it. Got a new fishing pole, do you? Hmm? Oh my God, wouldn't that be so fun? Let's just all have a party at the lake and go fishing. So, something else I've been dealing with is the pressure to manifest in the old 3D style, which is phrases like, I had to go pound the pavement to find a job. This idea you have to suffer and get bloody and like get desperate and get your question. I mean, sometimes maybe that's your path, but my guides they told me, we handicapped you. The only way you can manifest in this life is through attraction. You will never get anything by trying to make it happen. Some people can. They're called, in human design, they're called manifestors. They're doers and shakers and movers, and they do stuff and stuff happens. That's not me. I can't manifest that way. I have to be invited. I'm a manifesting generator, and that's just the way we are. So, with that limitation, I have been forced to become a master at the law of attraction. So, one of the fastest ways to attract something is to put on some great music and dance and say, I'm so excited, I've got my desire. Woo-hoo-hoo. And you go into this silly, funny, happy, you raise the vibration, and that works. So, I've been really pressured to manifest according to the 3D because of someone else's fear. You've got to manifest this. And I'm like, you've got to just do this. It's too late for you to just expect something to drop in your lap. And I'm like, oh, is it? I don't think so. Because this is how I manifest. So this was really, really important to me, this whole thing. Okay, hang in there. You find that okay. This is what I wanted to read to you. And this is from Osho. Love him or hate him, whatever. This is what he wrote. As you move above to the fourth center, and that is the heart, your whole life becomes a sharing of love. So he's saying, as you move. So what's here in this third chakra? The third center has created the abundance of love. By reaching to the third center in meditation, which means you've started at the first, you've gone to the second, grounding in the first, creation in the second, abundance in the third. Why do you think they've disempowered? Because this is where the abundance is. It's yellow, it's gold, it's citrine, it's lion, gold, the energy of gold, like I have in my room. It's abundance. By reaching to the third center in meditation, you have become so overflowing with love, with compassion, and you want to share. It happens at the fourth center, the heart. That's why even in the ordinary world, people think love comes out of the heart. For them, it is just hearsay. They have heard it. They don't know it because they have never reached to their heart. But the meditator finally reaches to the heart through the source of power. And I'll explain that in a minute. As he has reached the center of his being, boop, the third center, suddenly an explosion of love and compassion and joy and blissfulness and benediction has arisen in him with such force that it hits the heart, opens the heart. The heart is just in the middle of all your 7 centers, 3 centers below, 3 centers above. You've come exactly to the middle. And what they revealed to me is that when you love from a place of power and abundance, your love is healthy. Your love comes from a place of your own infinite source. The proverb says, guard well the wellspring of the heart, for it is the source of life. Source, meaning akame, you don't need anything from anyone. And loving from a place of caretaking, which is what we're trained to do. It's the survival program that got set up with the narcissist that says, you need me to give you permission, to give you a mortgage, to give you approval to live on the land, they sold snow to Eskimos is what they did. And we believed it. So the only relationship with a narcissist is fear-based. I'm mad at you. I might disapprove of you. Well, then I have to make you happy in order to survive. So we call this love. We partner with narcissistic personalities and we call it love. It's survival. It's okay because it's a mixed bag, okay? We've all got all of it mixed in there. So until you find this place where you're not leaning to the left, leaning to the right, leaning towards this person, being pulled out of center. Oh, maybe they're right. Oh, maybe that's right. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. It's like Liara has this meditation, and I got this years ago. We have the same one, the dot in the center of a sphere. Not leaning either way. And to become so sensitive, to know when you're getting pulled out of center with a lie. I am sufficient in my center. I don't need to move. I don't need to move off home base of my own subjective truth. I will know everything I need to know from here. I don't have to go over there or listen to them or try this program or pay that money or da da da. It's like, you know if that's the path, but you never have to leave your center. If someone's asking you to leave your center, they're trying to sell you something and disempower you and get you in a state of dependence so that you caretake them with your money, so that you feel that you will survive. If security comes from a place of empowerment from the third chakra, this power center, which is connected in a concentric circle with your voice. Interesting that this little scar got healed in my voice. My power is getting healed. Then when you love, you come from this abundance and your inner child is really, really safe and happy to play. And that inner child sense of safety, creativity, I can manifest and create my own life. It's a safe thing for me to go, what do I feel like creating today? Instead of what do I need to do for my survival? It's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make something today. That inner child feels free to create and be in the safe space because Mama Bear has stepped in and said, I am the authority here. And she says to everything that would threaten that inner child's safety, F off. So, if you need to strengthen that archetype of the mother, I recommend that you watch videos of mother orangutans with their babies. They have this energy of like, you're safe. I am your playing apparatus. I am your playground equipment. And they say to the rest of the world, don't even think of messing with me and my baby, okay? And the energy of that kind of authoritative care. If you take yourself in hand with that kind of power and authority, and it doesn't mean that you know how to do everything, it's the intention to play that role with yourself. That's where happiness, bliss, the ability to love without ceasing. And I had been doing a lot of my readings and my profession from this place of caretaking. And I need to tell you what you want to hear because I need to survive. It wasn't purely that. I've had an incredibly successful, rich, amazing career as a reader, but there was an ingredient that had to be taken out. And so I've been doing a hiatus from reading. It's just kind of stopped. I've had one or two that have come through because those clients had really good boundaries and didn't want me to caretake them, so it made it really easy. I have to be able to say no when I'm asked. Please caretake me. Tell me what I want to hear. And I have to be like, mm-mm. I don't care how that makes you feel. I don't know if I'm there yet. But anyway, I guess that's it for now. Does anybody want a card from any deck? Because I have lots of decks with me here. Every day I'm doing the deck. Okay, tell me what deck you want. Animal cards, angel blessings. These are really freaking deep. And I won't read the whole thing because everyone is really long. But this is the card I got, joy. It's like be in your inner child. You get to be joyful. I've got Osho Zen. I've got this self-care deck, just very simple, brief messages, and I've got regular cards. So tell me what deck you want, and I will pull you a card. Oh, thank you, Chris. Yeah, I'm certainly on a roll. I'm at an hour already. Can you believe it? Okay, if nobody says what deck they want a card from, the regular deck. Okay. How cute you are. And I know you're the two of clubs because you told me that last time. which is the karma card to the Ace of Spades, which Chris is. And he wants an angel card. Gypsy, you get the Jack of Clubs. Okay, so since you're a club, this is your inner child. If you want to understand the personality of a club, the inner child or adolescent energy of the club, you can actually go to my Kismet Cards channel, and I have a video talking exclusively about this card as an archetype. So my channel is Kismet Cards. I think you've been there before, but you just go to playlists and you'll find, the clubs. And you're also the queen and the king, and it describes those archetypes. But the Jack of Clubs, this is a call for you to get, okay, it's snarky, it's hilarious, it's a little, what's that word? It's not as harsh as skeptical or jaded. It's just a little cynical. It's a little cynical, um, but it really is freaking hilarious. It has the capacity to be really detached, to be like, "Pff, talk to the butt." Okay, Liara. This is such a fun card. Whenever I meet a Jack of Clubs or this energy is around me, I'm like, oh, good. I get to laugh at life and myself. And just that kind of laughter explodes everything into perspective. Like you kind of get to see what's important and what isn't important. So they're saying really access your sense of humor, watch funny movies, get into what really scratches your funny bone. Okay, angel deck for Chris. Oh, I love this. I love this part of it. Now I wish we had like 3 more people. Maybe they'll find us. Maybe they won't. My hips are starting to hurt, and I haven't eaten anything yet. And it's already 10 minutes after 1. So yeah, when I'm done reading, you guys, I should probably feed myself. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Because when I was in that 90-10 med bed, there was a minute when I could see everybody. I could see a huge, not everybody, but a large group of people that had accessed the 90-10 med bed. I saw them in the quantum field, and I was like, I'm quantumly entangled with these people. And it wasn't weird and it wasn't unhealthy. It was just like, it was really beautiful. So, Chris, what do you get? You get the card that's on the cover. It's Wisdom, Zagzagel, probably not gel, Zagzagel. So you could look that up, the spelling, and see if you find anything on this card, Zagzagel. So let me read a little bit of it. Number 23, turn right to it. Inner angels. Oh, and the quote is from Rainier Maria Rilke. He's just friggin' amazing. And this is from Duino Elegies 1. Who, if I cried out, would hear me among the angels' hard hierarchies? And even if one of them pressed me suddenly against his heart, I would be consumed in that overwhelming existence. Oh, I love that. If an angel suddenly took you to their breast and held you, you'd be overwhelmed. So those aren't orbs necessarily that you're seeing. The flash behind me is if you see that, I have one of those crystals outside, and the wind is blowing it, and it's flashing some light in here. Okay, Zagzagel is the angel of wisdom who appeared to Moses in the burning bush. Zagzagel teaches us how to listen and see inwardly. Wisdom is the result of searching deep within for truth. Many of us are too busy with outward activities, too concerned about the opinions of others, too filled with the clutter of the media to be able to venture inward. Inner listening is vital to the process of awakening, but it's impossible when you're filled with judgments and fear. Da 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 da. They're jumping me over to the other page. When you connect with your angels and God, you feel alive and energized. Perhaps you won't receive what you want to hear. The inner voice may come as a sharp nudge of conscience when you stray. Recognize this as the loving hand of the beloved pulling you back onto the path. Another form of inner voice takes is intuition, your eternal self communicating through your awareness. Intuition is deeper than your consciousness and requires a stronger connection to the inner wisdom center. That's just really the name of the game for your card. The Ace of Spades is what is the secret formula behind everything, and it's about just coming to this complete, total, absolute reliance on nothing but the self. That principle of akame. Yeah, look that up too. Akame, inner listener. I would like to see some artwork of your interior magical land, Chris. Because, like, I don't know if I'm tuning into you or what, but I see it's like you go through this little portal in the hedge. And then what's on the other side is this whole magical forest. Like the book that Liara and I co wrote. That was such a fun experience. That was one of the funnest things I ever did. She had the story and the photographs from which she did artwork, and I just put words to it. Way too many words, nonetheless. I think it turned out fantastic. The Enchanted Garden, is that what it was called? Can you believe it? It's available on Amazon. Anyway, that's Zagzagel. So Liara wants a card from any deck, and we're at 111.22 at that very moment. Oh, yeah, my hips are hurting. My guides are saying angel deck for you, too. This is, ooh, I've never seen this one. And this looks a lot like your artwork. Shushiane, purity. This is like one of your famous paintings. Shushiane, Shushiane, Shushiane. Number 12. Purity, how like an angel came I down. Oh. Life has a way of filling us with pollution, leaving us dense, insensitive, and unconscious. We are surrounded by emotional and mental pollution caused by negative experiences and thought patterns, and physical pollution from breathing contaminated air and eating chemicalized foods, all resulting in aging and disease. What a beginning. Our internal pollution of not caring manifests in the environment as oil spills, nuclear acts, blah, 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 disregard for nature. Pollution slows the vibration of cells, interfering with the reception of light, wisdom, and healing. The atoms of a pure body and mind are able to speed up to make a connection with the eternal self. Call to Shushiane, Shashiane, Shashiane, to help you achieve purity by infusing you with her gentle, cleansing energy of love. I think that just says it all. Oh, you're so welcome, Chris. Yeah, man, your inner world, Chris, is like gnomes, dragons, fairies. Oh, you have the most amazing elemental interior landscape. Just think we'll be able to access each other's magical worlds that we've created someday. So, Liara, you're going through cleansing, purging, purifying. And that's, I'm sorry I'm not caught up on what's going on, but it sounds like you need to rest. Maybe you're not feeling well, which I always, a lot of people believe that, like, when we get sick, it's our body is making use of the viruses inside us for a healing crisis, and it's just, all your defenses come up, and the mucus basically grabs onto the crap, insulates it, and carries it out of your body. So yeah, I'm getting that you're going through a purging, and it is because the planet is purging. Mother Earth is purging. This entire collective field is purging. And as we are of her, we're going through the purging too. And it may be happening on a physical level. It's happening on every level. And sometimes it's painful. Oh, wow. That is so cool. Well, so it says we have 4 people watching now, which we've had all along, right? Oh, the counters are so ridiculous. But, I looked up Meta. Speaking of Facebook, I looked up the word Meta. So if you type in METTA, yeah, transformed into what, yeah, that it was interesting just reading up on how the 9010 medbed, I mean, just there's an energy of higher frequency generosity that I almost feel was written by a quantum AI or something, because the sweetness that comes through in the answering these millions of questions that people could have, it just has that energy of generosity to it. And it, of course, it's apolitical and it doesn't say anything about, stuff, but it says, we've been asked if it's effective in healing heavy metal poisoning, and what it does is it transmutes it, turns it into something else. So it makes the suggestion you can call on anything that is potentially harmful within you to be transmuted into something that's harmful and benign. Or you can call on something that is harmful to be transmuted into something that is life giving, that is love, which is so beautiful, isn't it? It's like anything we can imagine, we can create with your little, ding, little magic wand. 440,000. That's a frequency. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for hearing the call and joining me. And this was a really special space. I needed this too. It's been really hard. Oh, look at who's on the bottom of the deck. Look at this. Oh, oh my God, this is so cute. This is so cute. Look at this. Do you see it? Oh. Oh, 440,000 are watching. Oh, instead of 4. Someone's calling me. Perhaps it's time to go. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. Nature, 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 nature. I love you guys. Bye.